before you buy something, just because everything feels expensive and the future feels out of reach, pause for a second. Because that quick purchase may feel harmless today, but it can quietly turn stress into more debt tomorrow. There's a newer term for this called doomspending, and it means spending money not because you feel secure, but because saving feels pointless, the news feels heavy, and a small purchase feels like the one thing you can still control. The behavior itself is not new. People have used spending to cope with stress for a long time. But the term doom spending has started showing up more recently because so many people are dealing with the same mix of high prices, debt, housing pressure, social media comparison, and anxiety about the future. And the real risk is that one small moment of relief can slowly become a pattern that makes your bills, credit card balance, and anxiety even heavier. So have you ever bought something mainly because you were tired, stressed, or just needed one small good feeling that day? I think a lot of people understand this feeling more than they want to admit. So then, doom spending usually does not start with someone saying, "I want to ruin my budget." It starts with a long day, a frustrating paycheck, rent that keeps going up, groceries that cost more than expected, and a phone full of bad news. Then suddenly, a delivery order, a coffee, a new outfit, a game, a beauty product, or a random online cart feels like the one thing you can actually control. And that is what makes this different from normal shopping. The purchase is not just about the item. It is about trying to feel better for a few minutes. Now, small treats are not automatically bad. A coffee with a friend, a dinner after a hard week, or a modest purchase you plan for could be part of a healthy life. The problem starts when spending becomes the main way you cope with hopelessness. If the thought behind the purchase is, "I'll never afford a house anyway," or "retirement is impossible," or "everything is already too expensive, so who cares?" that is a warning sign. That kind of thinking can make money decisions feel less like choices and more like emotional escape routes. A simple way to think about it is this: comfort helps you recover, but escape helps you avoid. The same purchase can be comfort one day and escape another day. Buying takeout because you had a packed schedule and planned for is one thing. Ordering delivery night after night because opening your bank app feels unbearable is something else. The difference is not always the dollar amount. It is the pattern and the feeling behind it. And this is why doom spending should not be treated like people are just lazy or irresponsible. A lot of people are under real pressure. Housing feels unreachable for many younger adults. Student loans, car payments, rent, insurance, healthcare costs, and grocery bills can make it feel like money disappears before you even get to make decisions with it. When every major goal feels delayed, saving can start to feel emotionally unrewarding. You put money away, but the big milestone still looks miles away. And that is where the hopelessness part matters. Traditional personal finance advice often says, spend less, save more, build an emergency fund. And that advice can be correct. But when someone feels like the future is already blocked, the math alone may not be enough to change the behavior. People are not spreadsheets. They are tired, lonely, anxious, embarrassed, burnt out, and trying to feel like life is not just bills and work. If we ignore that emotional side, we miss why the spending happens in the first place. And social media can make this worse because the phone creates a loop. You scroll through bad news about prices, layoffs, housing, debt, politics, or the economy. And then a few seconds later, you see an ad, an influencer recommendation, a shopping haul, or a buy now, pay later offer. The same device gives you the stress and then offers you the cure. And because the cure is easy, fast, and right there, the purchase can happen before your rational brain really catches up. This is also why trends like little treat culture or TikTok made me buy it feel so relatable. They're often playful, but they point to something serious. People are trying to buy a small sense of normal life. If you cannot afford the big things, maybe you can afford the drink, the shirt, the skincare product, the concert ticket, the dinner, or the weekend trip. The danger is that those smaller choices can still add up, especially when they're placed on a credit card or split into payments that feel tiny at first. Now, buy now, pay later can be especially tricky in this situation. It can make a purchase feel less serious because you're not paying the full price today, but your future self still has to deal with the payment. And if you stack several small payments at once, your next paycheck can already be spoken for before it arrives. That is one of the quiet ways doom spending turns from emotional relief into financial pressure. The practical question is not, how do I stop enjoying life? That is too extreme, and for most people it will not work. The better question is, how do I stop letting stress make every spending decision for me? Because a budget that removes all joy can backfire. If every dollar is only for bills, debt, and survival, eventually one bad day can break the whole plan. A small plan treat can actually be healthier than pretending you will never want anything. So before you try to fix everything at once, start by noticing your triggers. Do you spend more after scrolling bad news? After talking to certain people? After work? Late at night? When you feel behind, compare with friends? When you are lonely? When you are angry about money? Naming the trigger matters because the solution may not be another budgeting app. Sometimes the real need is rest, connection, a boundary, or a cheaper way to feel rewarded. One helpful move is to separate scrolling from shopping. Delete shopping apps for a while. Remove save cards from your browser. Add a 24-hour waiting rule for non-essential purchases. Keep a note on your phone called Things I Wanted but Did Not Buy, and write the item down instead of buying it immediately. This sounds small, but it creates friction. And friction is powerful because doom spending often depends on speed. Another helpful step is to make your goals smaller. If saving 3 to 6 months of expenses sounds impossible, do not start there emotionally. Start with $100, then $250, then $500. No, $500 does not solve the cost of housing or fix the economy. But it proves something important. It proves that your actions still matter. Doom spending feeds on the feeling that the future cannot be changed. Small savings goals push back against that feeling. Also, try giving your fun money a name before the month begins. It could be coffee money, friend money, hobby money, treat money, whatever makes sense for your life. The point is to decide on the amount when you are calm, not when you are overwhelmed. Then when you spend it, you do not have to feel guilty because it was already part of the plan. That is very different from swiping a card because the day felt hopeless. This is where people sometimes get too harsh with themselves. They make one emotional purchase and then think, well, I already messed up, so the whole month is ruined. That all or nothing thinking can make the damage worse. One purchase is not the same as a pattern. If you overspend once, pause and reset. Look at what happened. Adjust the next few days if you need to, and keep going. Shame is not a budget strategy. And for people on fixed incomes, tight incomes, or with debt already hanging over them, this matters even more. Doom spending does not have to be huge to cause problems. A few subscriptions, a few delivery orders, a few small online purchases, and suddenly the money that was supposed to cover gas, medicine, utilities, or a minimum payment is gone. That does not mean you never get to enjoy anything. It means the margin is thin, so the plan needs to protect both your needs and your mental health. The goal is not to become perfect with money. The goal is to regain a little control. Pause before the purchase. Ask what feeling you're trying to solve. Give yourself some planned joy, but do not let bad news, comparison, or burnout quietly run your bank account. Because the future may feel uncertain, but every small decision that protects your peace and your money is still a vote for yourself.